Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're here back with episode 2 of our F1 Manager 22 Ferrari Road to Glory. Yes, of course, if you missed out on the video that went live earlier on today, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, we jumped in to the all-new F1 Manager game and safe to say we had a fantastic race from Bahrain. Of course, there will be spoilers in just a moment, so I would definitely recommend going back, like I said, and checking that one out. And of course, you know, if you did enjoy that video earlier on as well, I do really appreciate that you've come back for round 2 today. But yeah, Bahrain, done and dusted. Then we've sort of learnt the ropes on F1 Manager. You know, we're slowly working our way around things. Like I said in the video that we did earlier, you know, this first season we're going to jump in with Ferrari, sort of learn the ropes whilst hopefully not having too big of a challenge as such. You know, we can sort of learn things without worrying that we're going to be way off the pace or anything like that. And then obviously once we've won the title with Ferrari, then we're going to jump in and do a more Road to Glory style career mode with another team in the near future. As always as well, you know, if you just want to get into the racing action, everything like that, there will be timestamps linked below, you know, so you can just skip forward to the bits that you want to see from this video. But yeah, heading in towards the second race of the year, then of course in Jeddah, just a week after the Bahrain Grand Prix, so we haven't got much time to sort out a few different things. We have got an email coming through from Javier though, saying, I've updated you on the circuit data, obviously from Bahrain. On a separate note, our telemetry shows that engine cooling of Car 1 could be better compared to the grid. We should design a new car part and improve this attribute to keep us competitive. We've also noticed that the reactions performance of Carlos Sainz could be improved. We should consider developing them in this area when they've gained enough experience to make them a more well-rounded driver. So at the moment we can't actually sort out the engine cooling on Charles Leclerc's car, so I have to wait and see what we can try and do with that as we head into the weekend. But we haven't got any development points either for Carlos Sainz. You can see there are most of his stats. They're all looking pretty good, with the exception, of course, of the reactions. Apparently he's meant to be the smooth operator, and he's only got 79 on smoothness as well there. So yeah, we won't worry too much about that, of course, before we jump into this weekend. Any other emails then? Of course, the team very happy. We did get a 1-2 in the first race weekend of the year. We did a brilliant one-stop strategy to try and pull away from Red Bull there. If, of course, the AI doing 2 stops every week, then I probably will start mixing it up, you know, trying a few different things out. You know, like I said, this is more of a learning style first season as much as anything else. So, yeah, we'll certainly try out a few things as well there. And, of course, we've got the race report from Michael Loom there, Formula1.com reporter, obviously just talking about everything that the team was able to do. And, even more importantly, it looks like our suspension is upgraded, ready for the second weekend of the year. Of course, we know just how important straight line speed is around the Jeddah Corniche street circuit. So are we going to be able to try and put the new engine parts on? So we have got the version 2. Let's have a look then and see just how much better it is and whether it's better in the ways we want it to be. Let's have a look then. So it reckons, yeah, so it's gonna slightly improve a few bits and pieces. So we've got slightly better higher speed G-force, and then much better in terms of sat in dirty air as well. So that's going to be really important heading into Jeddah. Of course, if we get stuck behind Max Verstappen or something like that. But we have only got one of them at the moment. So Charles Leclerc is going to get the part on the car this weekend. We're going to try and get another couple sorted ready for the next couple of races. But Sainz will have to have a slightly older spec car as we head into Saudi this weekend. In terms of anything else we can do though, can we try and help on Charles Leclerc's car with the engine cooling? But obviously we've got the help buttons as well, everything like that, fairly sort of standard stuff. Don't think there's anything we can do in terms of cooling though, unfortunately, at the moment. But yeah, I suppose we've just got to try and get a couple of other little bits and pieces sorted. I think we want to try and have a look at staff facilities now, of course. We're looking alright for the most part, but I think we'll try and upgrade the team hub there, of course. Just makes other teams, you know, other people, you know, down, you know, if we can try and poach from Red Bull and Mercedes, perhaps. You never quite know what we might be able to do. Let's go with an upgrade then, 2.2 million there. That's going to take just over a month to get sorted. Can we do the same with the scouting department? I don't think that's really going to be important down at Ferrari, but we'll also spend 3 million on trying to make sure the facility, the race simulator facility is upgraded as well. But I think that pretty much sets us up then. Let's jump into it. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here from Jeddah. We might be able to actually control things during qualifying this weekend.
Formula One is back. Welcome to one of the fastest circuits on the calendar here at Jeddah. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is about to kick off and the atmosphere here is electric. The Jeddah Street Circuit has one of the fastest average speeds as well as the most corners of any track on the calendar. Good high-speed downforce is going to make life in the fast lane a little easier for drivers here this weekend. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Well, here we are then, back at Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit. Of course, this one should be a track that really does suit our car, because of course we have got very good high-speed downforce settings. But, of course, yeah, we, obviously last weekend, we jumped in at Bahrain. The team actually didn't want us to do any of the practice programs, so this is going to be our sort of our first look at what car setups we can try to run. So we kind of learned they like to run quite a high front wing, but quite a low rear wing angle. So we're just going to try and tweak a few things there. We'll see what we can do to Charles Leclerc's car. Of course, we want a little bit less tyre camber and a toe there. And I think, yeah, we'll send him out for a 15-run plan. There we go. Car 1 is all ready to go. And then we'll try a couple of different bits and pieces on Carlos Sainz's car. So we'll give him even more front wing there, and slightly, in fact, you know, we're going to take it right down on the rear wing, just sort of see what can happen. We'll try and run quite aggressive ARDs even on the anti-roll bar as well there. And we'll try a little bit more camber, sort of see how Sainz gets on with that as well. But I think, yeah, there we go. Let's jump into practice one then. Like I said, this is going to be very interesting because, of course, we haven't actually managed a free practice session so far.
Can you hear me?
So this is going to be a bit of a different test then. So we're going to send both drivers out nice and early. There we go. Normal practice 1 conditions do apply. So yeah, we're just going to sort of see how they get on, let them go out for a few laps, and then of course we're going to try and work out how we can build up the setup to really suit both drivers, so you know they can go into the race with 75-80% confidence in the setup. That's what I'd like to try and get. So just fast forwarding through the session then, just sort of seeing how everything works. It does look like as the laps tick by, both Leclerc and Sainz are getting a little bit more accustomed to their setup there. You can see we have actually got a little graphic for it on the display there. So that is the little percentage change as everything at the moment, as Esteban Ocon has gone for a spin down at turn 2. How on earth has he looped it there? Not 100% sure how Ocon's done that one. Oh! Red Bull and McLaren almost running into the Alpine as well. But virtual safety car, we'll ignore that. You know, they're not trying to do any aggressive runs or anything like that. But we'll just sort of see as to how things pan out. So riding on board then with Alex Albon. Oh, big. Whoa! That might be the biggest crash we'll ever see on F1 Manager there. That must have been a brake failure down at Williams, but not what they need right at the start of the weekend. I mean, we're 15 minutes into the session, and that is Albon and Williams with a huge repair bill. Right, so end of their first runs then, and Charles Leclerc thinks the straight line speed is brilliant, but everything else is pretty bad at the moment. So we'll try and tweak a few numbers there, try and give him a little bit more wing. But, I mean, how on earth can we try and tweak this all to make it so Leclerc is happy? I think we need a bit more toe, don't we? Sorry, a little bit more tyre camber even, but we don't really want to run too aggressive on the anti-roll bars. That should bring us a little bit closer though, so we'll let him go out for another run. But yeah, I'm going to make these tweaks now, but it is good. You need to tyre compound with at least 15 laps left of use. We'll send him out. Obviously, we really have to use the soft compound tyres in free practice, of course, because you just get so many sets. Don't really want to waste a set of medium or hards this early on into the weekend. And there we go then, having a look at the setup again. Sainz pretty happy with the traction, but not happy with everything else. So we're definitely going to try and tweak a few more things to their liking. But we're running pretty similar setups now. So let's hope this will make the difference. As they come towards the end then of their second runs, looks like Sainz is getting a lot more confident with the car. Charles Leclerc is still sat about 10% behind. What are the teams saying about it? Marcos just asking him, and there we go. Car feels pretty good to Charles Leclerc, so we are certainly figuring things out there. As you can see, both drivers now 1 and 2 at this stage of the session. We've got 13 minutes left on the clock. Sainz's setup is looking, I mean, they're pretty much even, like I said, but Sainz is even more confident with it. So far, this is looking reassuring. You know, we are learning the ropes here on F1 Manager. And of course, yeah, once we've navigated our way through free practice, of course, we can jump into qualifying once again. And what a show that was last weekend. Right, well, there we go then. Free practice done and dusted. And Max Verstappen looking very, very fast on a set of hard compound tyres. They're a 10th clear of Charles Leclerc and 2/10 clear of Carlos Sainz. But I felt like we got good data in from that session. Of course, didn't let either of the drivers go for a particularly aggressive run. What I'm going to do is let the team sort of work out a few of the bits and pieces that they want to, and we'll fast forward on in towards qualifying here in Jeddah.
Today has already seen the culmination of practice, so we move on now to the all-important qualifying session. We've already seen a lot of excitement building since Formula One arrived in town, and today's qualifying is sure to be no exception. Success may stem from a well-prepared strategy, or a driver capable of incredible audacity. Put it this way, there simply is no surefire recipe for victory. Here we go, folks. It's time to get started.
Right, well, there we go then. Having a look at the final practice results. Charles Leclerc definitely seems to have a little bit extra in the back pocket there. 2/10 clear of Sergio Perez. But I do wonder whether Max Verstappen didn't go for a fast run in that final session there. 4/10 away from fastest there. Alfa Romeo looking very, very quick. 5th and 7th place. But of course, all of that is irrelevant if you can't get the lap in qualifying. Hopefully, Q1 and Q2 should be sort of fairly simple foregone conclusions now. I'm not going to try and do too much based on qualifying, of course. We all want to see the race at the end of the day. But yeah, like I said, I'm hoping we won't have to include too much Q1 and Q2 footage. But then when we jump into Q3, that's where things get spicy, and I certainly want to be there riding on board. Right, so what I'm going to do then this weekend, of course, now we know roughly what we're doing here on F1 Manager, I'm just going to try and let the drivers go out for one run early-ish in the session. It gives them enough time, you know, if one of them gets caught out by another car, that they can, of course, do a second run later on. But, I mean, really, yeah, Q1s and Q2s, we want to be trying to make it through on as few sets of tyres as possible. You know, like I mentioned in the video that went live earlier on, of course, in real life 2022, you get a clean set of tyres ready for the race anyway. It's no longer the set that you did your fastest Q2 time on. So, really, in a perfect weekend, we could see both cars make it through Q1 and 2 on the same set of tyres, and of course have loads of fresh sets to try and go for runs in Q3 if needed. But I think Red Bull are going to be fast here. I think Max Verstappen just left something in the back pocket at the end of free practice. Well, riding on board then with Charles Leclerc as he heads down in towards the final corner. Hopefully we won't see a mistake from him like we saw from Verstappen in real life last year. But heading out then down the start-finish straight, DRS wide open on the back of the Scarlet Ferrari, and that is only down in P5, so that's not quite where I want it to be. Hopefully Sainz is going to improve further up the rostrum. Sainz has only gone 11th. We might have issues here, unless neither of them can really get a lap in. I don't think there was much traffic around them, but that's the only thing I can think of, whether they both got a little bit caught in traffic, because yeah, there's no reason we should be so far off suddenly. Well, things might be getting a little bit scarier than I'd originally hoped for them. Perez fastest at the moment on a 29.6. Of course, we saw him go pole position in the real-life Grand Prix here. But Carlos Sainz down in the drop zone, just a few hundredths away from Lance Stroll. But we need him right up there. I mean, 2 seconds is a big chunk of time that needs to find in the second runs here. I don't know if we can actually have a look at the delta. There we go. We'll have a look at the timing. Of course, we'll just get the times through each of the sector splits. We'll try and monitor it on Charles Leclerc's car as well. No, I don't want to call the car in early, do I? Ignore that, sorry. There we go. We'll try and monitor the times on both Leclerc and Sainz here, as hopefully Leclerc, like I said, and Sainz make it comfortably up inside the top 10. Of course, we'll get the Sector 1 splits as Sainz heads out of this first sector there through the very, very high speed. Not quite a chicane there, of course, where Mick Schumacher had issues. And there we go. That's what we want to see. Carlos Sainz immediately purple as he goes through the banking of turn 12 there. Nice and tidy on the exit. How quick is Leclerc going to be? Hopefully he's at the very least going to go green through that first sector as well. But maybe he can go purple and improve on the time currently set by Carlos. Still not getting any split times from Charles Leclerc. He has gone green, though, in the first sector, so that's reassuring then as Carlos Sainz romping his way through the middle sector here. We're going to get the second split time there, and he is green again. So this is what we like to see from Carlos Sainz. I wish we had a little graphic sort of saying how far away he is from the fastest runs at the moment. To be honest, there might well be. I just can't see it. But down in towards the final corner then for Carlos Sainz. Hopefully this is going to improve to the very least sort of P3, P4 there. But I mean, look at that Bottas. 3 tenths away from the Red Bulls there. That Alfa Romeo was rapid at the start of F1 Manager. But up towards the line, Carlos Sainz, a 29.0 there. 6 tenths he's put on the Red Bulls, and that you absolutely love to see there. I think Leclerc struggling a little bit with traffic down in towards the final corner, so I think that's one of the Alfa Romeos. Might be Zhou Guanyu with some issues, so I think he's actually got a grid penalty here. Just see with a little exclamation mark next to his name. But is Charles Leclerc going to be able to improve there? He should be safely through into Q2 anyway. I don't think he has. No, Leclerc stays P10, so a lot closer to the drop zone than I would have wanted, but Sainz dropping 6 tenths on everyone. That's reassuring. Well, it did get a little bit close for comfort then at the end of the session for Charles Leclerc there, but Perez's only a 1/10.5 away, so it shows Red Bull have certainly got some pace. But I mean, look at this. Charles Leclerc made it through by 13 thousandths of a second over Lando Norris. I thought he was safely going to make it then, but apparently not. So we're definitely going to have to try and work out some timings to get the cars out in clear air there. But Lando Norris, I'm sure, gutted to go out in Q1 alongside both Aston Martins and both Williams. Latifi, sorry, Albon even, doing quite a good job there to beat out Latifi, despite getting very little running in practice. But yeah, now we've got to try and find some clear air for Charles Leclerc. It might have to be one run in Q2, but sort of with 7-8 minutes left on the clock, so hopefully he can find some space. So what we're going to do then, like I said in Q2, is we're just going to let everyone else go out for their first runs originally, just sort of see the times on the board from the other car drivers. Again, Verstappen can't dip into the 129s, but 8 minutes left on the clock. We'll send both cars out. Like I said, if they can get back down into the 29s nice and easily, then we shouldn't need to do a second run in this session. However, I think I've just sent them out on the old set of tyres that they've already both done 2 runs on. That might be a little bit more difficult. We're heading out of the final corner then. Sainz is a little bit close to Charles Leclerc here as we get ready for the second runs, but maybe the slipstream, of course, can help him out just behind his teammate there. Of course, Sainz very, very fast in the first runs. There's a Russell fastest ahead of both Alpines there. What on earth is going on to Max Verstappen and his Red Bull? Maybe a few small issues down at the Red Bull team there, but I'm sure they'll get the lap in later on in the session when they need to. But riding on board then, we've got quite a good view of both cars going around at the moment. Like I said, obviously ground effect now in 2022 should mean that Sainz doesn't struggle too much being sat a bit closer to his teammate, but this certainly seems closer than I would like him to be. We haven't quite got this Q1 run sorted like we wanted to. Q2 isn't looking... It might be... We might have some small issues here as well. I'm not even 100% sure we'll have enough time to go for 2 runs. But we'll just have a look. What are the timings there? Leclerc purple, Sainz going green now. I mean, he's still right behind his teammate, so fingers crossed as one of the Alfa Romeos. Hopefully going to jump out of the way of both cars there. Just got to be careful. Sainz does make it through as well. That's super important as they head down in towards the end of Sector 2 there. Leclerc again purple. Sainz again only able to go green there, but he is sticking close behind his teammate. And of course, Sector 3 with the slipstream should be where Sainz gets the biggest help. As you can just see there, well over 200 miles an hour by the time they get down in towards the final corner. It doesn't look like Sainz is really getting any help from the slipstream there. But out of the final turn then, what is the times going to be on the board? They're still looking very, very close, the gaps, as Leclerc heads down to the start-finish line. That's going to be a 28.9 there, as Sainz goes less than a tenth slower. That surely is both cars into Q2 then. That went a whole lot better than I thought it would. And there we go then, Q2 results. Look like Red Bull are just slowly upping the ante here. Max Verstappen 3/100ths away at the end of that run. But again, 2 tenths covering the top 4 at the end of second qualifying there. Luckily, we have got a couple of fresh sets to get into Q3. We'll probably need about a 28.6 or 28.7 here if we want to try and make the difference. Any major surprises, though, in Q2? Zhou Guanyu probably a bit disappointed to be starting P11, but nothing too shocking there. Gasly again makes it through, and again, Bottas is just rapid in that Alpha. Right, well, here we are then, 10 minutes on the clock as we jump into Q3 here. Is it going to be Red Bull or is it going to be Ferrari for the second time this season here? I've got my red hat back on once more here to try and cheer my boys over the start-finish line. But Charles Leclerc then about to start his first flying lap here of Q3. He's got clear track space in front of him. We just got to hope no one else exits out of the pit lane into his path. I think Sainz as well. We've just staggered him out a little bit more, ready for these Q3 runs. You know, would hate for them to trip over each other and potentially compromise both of their qualifying sessions in one go. But yeah, again, we'll just try and monitor the timings from Sainz as well as Charles Leclerc there. I don't want to give too much sort of focus on Charles Leclerc, but of course, race winner last weekend, he probably is going to be the driver we have to try and focus our championship challenge with. As all, you can just see one of the Alpha Towers there a little bit in the way, and that has completely ruined Leclerc's first run. We may as well call him back in now. It is so frustrating that that keeps happening. I completely understand it is a thing in real Formula 1 sometimes, but not that often. I mean, it happened at least twice in Bahrain, and that is definitely the second time it's happened here in Jeddah. But yeah, now all our hopes lie on Carlos Sainz then in this first run, and for the second weekend in a row, Charles Leclerc is going to have one lap to try and make the difference. As Sainz even goes purple through the first sector, that we love to see. Out of the final turn then, Carlos Sainz heading up towards the start-finish line. Where is he going to go? Perez only on a 29.9. Surely this will be faster for Carlos Sainz, and there we go again. A 29.0 for the Spaniard. Charles Leclerc 18 seconds off the pace. But yeah, now we've got one run left to do for both of these drivers. Can Charles Leclerc again get the lap in when under massive pressure? Right, round in the final corner there once more. For the final time in qualifying then, Charles Leclerc, fingers crossed he's got clear track space ahead of him. I think everyone else is out for their final run. So I've just sent him out a little bit early here, just to make sure that he could get the lap in and he won't get tripped over by anyone else. As you can see, there's one of the Mercs going round. It seems awfully close towards the end of the timing loop there. But Sainz, he is going to be going out for his run as well, so we're going to try and keep an eye on him in the corner of my eye. But are we going to see Charles Leclerc get back into the 28s there? I mean, there's 5 thousandths of a second between Sainz and Verstappen at the end of the first runs there. It really could go either way still here in qualifying as Charles Leclerc heads out of the first sector there, down in towards the sector split, and he's up. Charles Leclerc is up. This is what we want to see right at the end of qualifying once more there. I mean, we saw him take pole last weekend in Bahrain with a one-shot run. Is Charles Leclerc again going to prove that he is the one-lap master in Formula 1? I mean, we've seen it so many times in real life. He's able to just wring everything out of the car right when it matters. We won't, as always, talk about his race pace as being as strong, but Charles Leclerc, I honestly think he is, you know, up there with your Sennas and your Hamiltons in terms of one-lap pace. Purple through Sector 2 as well goes Charles Leclerc, the Scarlet Ferrari, looking comfortable here on the Jeddah Corniche circuit there as he heads down in towards the final corner of the lap. Sainz has gone green in Sector 1. He's still going quicker as well. So how far away is Carlos Sainz going to be, or can he find something extra throughout the rest of the lap there? Charles Leclerc out of the final corner, up towards the start-finish line. Is this going to be back into the 1 minute 28 for Charles Leclerc, down towards the checkered flag? Yes, it is. A 28.9 there as Sainz, he's gone green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Surely this is going to be mighty close between both of the Ferrari cars. But of course, the other question is, what is Max Verstappen doing in his Red Bull? Carlos Sainz out of the final corner. He is up at the moment. Green in Sector 1, green in Sector 2, up towards the checkered flag. Carlos Sainz goes fractionally away there. 0.03 of a second, the difference between Sainz and Leclerc at the end of qualifying. Will it be Ferrari's first front row lockout here of the season as Max Verstappen heads through the final corner, up towards the checkered flag now for the Dutchman? Is he going to be able to get in between the Ferraris once more, just like he did in Bahrain 1 week ago? No, he cannot. No, he does. 5 thousandths of a second again there. Max Verstappen narrowly misses out on pole position there. Sergio Perez goes up into P4, a much, much better lap time from the Mexican there. So it is once again Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz and Perez in the top 4 there. That is what we like to see though. Charles Leclerc back-to-back pole positions. Well, there we are then, the end of qualifying for the for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix even, sorry, I should say. And again, 5 thousandths of a second, the gap there between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. Again, it looks like Red Bull have just tried to hide their pace, but again, the Dutchman just so close, but can't quite make the difference there. Let's get into it then. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We converted first and third on the grid to a 1-2 last weekend. Hopefully we can do the same here. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Tension continues to build here as race day begins.
These past few days, Ferrari have been absolutely thrilling their fans. Now let's see if they can make the Tifosi proud by capitalizing on that grid position. This weekend, Red Bull displayed promise during qualifying. Now they need to capitalize on their grid position and get a good race under their belts. We're under clear skies here tonight, certainly to the team's relief. Now they can focus their strategy on pushing their cars as much as they can.
Well, the streets of Jeddah are abuzz, and the teams are nearly ready for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Right, here we are then, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. In terms of strategy today then, what do we want to do then? What are the team thinking in terms of strategy? I don't know what they want to say at the moment. Car 1 strategy. So they do think the one stop is certainly the way to go this weekend. So I think strategy A looks like a pretty decent way to go. Of course, similar to what we managed in Bahrain. I wonder if that's, of course, because we actually ran through free practice, whether it's therefore allowed it to sort of work out the most sensible strategy here in Jeddah. But a one stop, yeah, like I said, it worked for us last weekend. But it might make things very interesting with Red Bull there. We are going to have to save fuel once more, of course. Bahrain and Saudi, both very fuel intensive. But I think it's time then. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the only other concern I have is Charles Leclerc's car, of course. Like we said, you know, that car, you can actually put your reserve driver, you can only take part in FP1 there. I completely forgot that was a thing for just one moment. But yeah, like I said, the only thing I'm a bit worried about, of course, is that issue the team said they had on Charles Leclerc's car. But fingers crossed it'll make it through this weekend and the engine won't go bang. Let's get into it then. Saudi Arabian GP time.
We have clear weather tonight as we look at the drivers in their grid positions. And there is Charles Leclerc. They're starting today at the head of the pack, but will they be able to stay there? And further back, there's Sainz. They've managed a third-place start for this race, but can they turn it into a win? Will their hard work pay off today? We're now moments away from this, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go!
I'm gutted I can't say that off the start, but good start this weekend it looks like for Charles Leclerc as we head down in towards turn 1 there. Max Verstappen slots into P2 ahead of Sainz and Perez there as Bottas tries to get the jump on his former teammate Lewis Hamilton in the background. Looks like Alonso's made up progress at the start there. Up into 7th place for Fernando Alonso as Bottas does complete the move on Lewis Hamilton there, and he might be a bit of a sitting duck to the cars behind, but we just want to watch on from our front positions there as Sainz already trying to apply pressure to Max Verstappen at the start of this Grand Prix there already. I mean, if we can let Charles Leclerc just break free slightly, that would be super important here. As, yeah, look at that big strategy in terms of tyres at the start there. Top 5 all on mediums. Hamilton's on hard tyres there, but Mercedes have split their strategies as well. Fernando Alonso despite being on the hards there, does gain places off the start ahead of George Russell. Ocon as well on mediums, Gasly on hards there with Kevin Magnussen, the first of the soft compound runners. So we're going to have to watch out and see how Magnussen gets on early on in this race. But of course, yeah, 50 laps ahead of us around the Jeddah Corniche circuit tonight. Things are going to get very, very interesting here, as already you can just see the top three pulling away slightly from Sergio Perez. Of course, he was a little bit further away in qualifying than I'm sure he would have wanted, and I just wonder whether this weekend, of course, it might be 2 versus 1 there. The difference between having, you know, 2 very, very strong drivers to having a car that, of course, down at Red Bull is completely geared towards Max Verstappen here. But right on board then with Carlos Sainz out of the final corner of lap 1. They can see 0.3 of a second separating each of the cars in the top 3 there. Is Verstappen going to try and make a move work on Charles Leclerc as we head back down towards turn 1 there? Verstappen, he's just going to sit behind him at the moment. We'll try and actually watch on board from Charles Leclerc's car. But yeah, Verstappen's just going to sit there for now. I think early on in this race, of course, Red Bull did start aggressive last weekend. Perhaps Verstappen just wants to sort of get a bit more data about the the medium compound tyres, of course, because if I remember correctly, Red Bull never used them. They went soft, hard, soft last weekend, so they're certainly going to try and get some data from those tyres here tonight. I'm sure they would have done a lot of that in free practice, but we of course know how these medium tyres can last over an early run, and hopefully we're going to try and keep Verstappen at bay there, as Sergio Perez, yeah, is just losing touch slightly. So this is the bit I'm really interested in. On to lap 3 we go. Of course, DRS now enabled in this Grand Prix. How much are we going to see the likes of Verstappen close in on Charles Leclerc here, as we'll try and ride on board with the Dutchman? You can see he's gaining there. This corner not really one you'd ever want to try and make an overtake on, but maybe now Verstappen is going to try and make the move work on Charles Leclerc. There he goes one way, he then has to go the other, and Max Verstappen there had to actually close the DRS for a second. Might have had to blip the brake, as haven't they got DRS down in towards that final corner? I'm not convinced they do, as here goes Verstappen then up the inside of Charles Leclerc out of the final corner for the second weekend in a row. The two of them side by side there. Verstappen gets a bit caught out though on the exit of the final turn, and that's going to leave him under pressure from Carlos Sainz as we head back down in towards the first corner. The Red Bull often has slightly better top end speed than the Ferrari, and Sainz will again just sort of hound him early on in this race. Do what he did last weekend, and hopefully we can try and rustle Verstappen's feathers. We're still riding on board with Sainz at the moment. Is it worth trying to tell him just to push a little bit? He seems to have a lot more extra fuel than Charles Leclerc. Here, as you can just see again. Oh, here we go. Sainz, oh, very, very close behind Verstappen there, and immediately just going to box himself out in that moment. So Charles Leclerc now might be under more pressure again from the Dutchman, as here comes Max Verstappen back down the start-finish straight here. He goes one way, he then has to go the other. But is the Dutchman going to have enough top-end speed to get up the inside of Charles Leclerc in towards the first corner there? He looks for it. He tries to sort of see whether Leclerc will make a mistake into the first corner. But Charles Leclerc, you know, he's a wily old fox. He's been in Formula 1 long enough now. And, of course, he's raced Verstappen in go-karts in years gone by as well. These two know how each other race incredibly well. So here we go again, end of lap 5. Verstappen again trying to have a look up the inside of Max Verstappen here. Is this going to give Carlos Sainz a bit of a chance to have a look once more there, as Verstappen just can't quite put the power down on the exit of the final corner there, having to, of course, give Charles Leclerc that room around the outside because he is still first in towards the braking zone. But Verstappen, again, almost into the back of Charles Leclerc through turn 1. But lap 6 then of this race, and the top 3 still covered by half a second here. This battle, Max Verstappen knows this weekend Red Bull have to try and get a win straight on the board there. They can't afford to let Ferrari build up too much momentum. We go Verstappen again, end of lap 6. He's going to try and go one way, then the other on Charles Leclerc. But it looks like Leclerc has just about got enough as we head down in towards turn 1 there. Of course, we focus so much of free practice. There goes Sainz. Sainz trying to have a look up the inside of Max Verstappen through turn 1 there. Go on, Carlos. Try and get up the inside there. He's got the inside line as we head into turn 3 there. Verstappen going slowly. What's going on to Max Verstappen there? Has he got an issue on that Red Bull? I think he just backed out of it. He's certainly dropping back a little bit at the moment, but I think, yeah, it was just Max Verstappen trying to just pick his battles. As we'll watch that one again, actually, on the replay. You can see Sainz went very, very late for the move down at turn 1 there. Got the throttle down on the exit of the first couple of turns there. And yeah, Verstappen, I don't think we've ever seen Verstappen back out of a move like he has done just then. But that means we're up into the lead and 1-2 once more, just like we were in Bahrain. The perfect start to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And of course, the team Absolutely loving that as well. Oh, we got a safety car. Lap 7 in this race, we've got a safety car. Someone else has had an issue. Can we have a look as to what's happened? Safety car out, so do we box? What? We're only on about lap 8 of this race, so it could now end up being a 2-stop strategy here. I mean, we have to go hard just to see how far they'll go. But is it... I mean, do we split the strategies? I say we split the strategies. We are going to box Sainz as well in this lap. But we're going to try and split it up. We're going to put Sainz on a set of medium tyres. This will certainly conflict the strategy. But then he'll try and go on a set of softs later on. Or is it... No, we can't really keep Sainz out either, because, of course, then he'll just be screwed later on down the line. I think, yeah, no, we abandon that. We split the strategies. We'll let Sainz stay out for now. As there we go, Sebastian Vettel is the man that had issues. What happened to Seb then? This is our first safety car ever of F1 Manager. Does he just loop it round somehow through the middle sector? No, completely runs wide. Surely that was a puncture for the Aston Martin there, or some sort of mechanical issue, because there's no way Seb would just understeer through that corner. And Aston Martin, tough start to the year for them. And that, yeah, is the first safety car we've had on F1 Manager. But as we head down, we'll try and just skip forward towards the safety car line, or the pit window even, I should say. Are we going to see any of the other cars into the pit lane as well here? Of course, Charles Leclerc will be boxing in. We're going to be splitting our strategies here. Is Verstappen going to be in? No, he's not. So Charles Leclerc now, it might be for the first time ever on F1 Manager, stuck in the midfield just a little bit here. I'm intrigued to see where he's going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix. There's hopefully a nice tidy stop there, 2.6 seconds from the team, and he might still come out in P6, P7. Oh, he is dropping down the order quite dramatically at the moment. Of course, he'll have the shorter run down to turn 1, but yeah, Charles Leclerc then is going to re-emerge in P9, I think, of this race, just ahead of Zhou Guan Yu, but he is on a fresh set of hard tyres that might just make it through to the end. Right, we'll end of lap 10 then. Safety car is going to be back into the pit lane, and Charles Leclerc is certainly going to be the driver we want to ride on board with, but we are going to have to keep our eye out on Carlos Sainz, who leads the way. But yeah, now it's going to be interesting to see how well Charles Leclerc can try and cut through these slower cars. Of course, he is on the hard tyres, so we might have a lot of work to do, but Carlos Sainz just backing the pack up rapidly as we head down towards the start-finish line here. I mean, there's cars everywhere at the moment. Why hasn't Sainz gone yet? As there we go, green flag racing once more here in Bahrain. Sergio Perez might be able to get a run on Verstappen there. Everyone behind is trying to look for a move there, as we're just going to try and make sure that Charles Leclerc doesn't get involved in any mess there, as both Alpines side by side through the first couple of corners there. Alonso and Esteban Ocon, of course, they had a big battle in the real-life Saudi Arabian Grand Prix a few weeks ago, and it looks like it is going to be Ocon, just like he did in real life there, hanging on to the position for now. I mean, we need to let Charles Leclerc push, don't we? We absolutely have to over these next couple of laps there. We're going to have to really try and focus on giving him a chance there, as we're going to tell Charles Leclerc, go for it. If you think you can make some moves here on Fernando Alonso, we are going to absolutely put our faith in you there. As you can just see, following the Spaniard through the banked turn 12 once more. He's got 5 laps of spare fuel in the car. Of course, Sainz now can afford to go a little bit longer on the strategy as well there, but I don't think Charles Leclerc is going to be able to make it to the checkered flag. But of course, if he can get to sort of lap 35, lap 40, then he should be able to go on softs to the end, and then he will be absolutely rapid here. As you can see, Charles Leclerc again. Is it worth just letting him wait until the DRS? No, we're still sort of stuck in a DRS train. I'm going to tell him to go for it. Let's ride on board with Charles Leclerc and see if we can try and get a run on Fernando Alonso as we head out onto the second back straight away here. You can see Alonso trying to keep in the slipstream of his teammate. Alpine, of course, very quick down the straight anyway. Are we going to see any chance for Charles Leclerc there? He looks up the inside of Fernando Alonso down in towards the final corner, but can't make anything happen there. And if there's one thing I've learned on F1 Manager so far, it's the fact the ERS is super sensitive there, as Kevin Magnussen and Lando Norris diving into the pit lane there. Of course, they were on a set of soft compound tyres each at the start of the race, so I think that is all of the soft compound runners into the pit lane, so they only think they can do about 10 laps then. So that's interesting to think for us later on in the afternoon. Of course, we'll have less fuel in the car, everything like that, but it should mean, you know, Charles Leclerc might only be able to do sort of 12 or 13 laps on that second stint, but we need him to try and look past Fernando Alonso sooner rather than later. We go Charles Leclerc up the inside of Fernando down at turn 12. That is going to be a nice done deal, and Charles Leclerc picks up his first place then back up into P8 then of the Grand Prix. Only 4 seconds away from Carlos, and he is going to have a slightly better strategy, potentially through to the checkered flag. It is just a case of when he can make the moves there. As immediately on the offensive on the other Alpine. Esteban Ocon, I don't think... Oh, he is still just within DRS range, of course, when that gets enabled next lap there. But here goes Charles Leclerc. No, not quite that time round. As we're going to try and once again ride on board with our teammate here. Surely Esteban Ocon, like I said, might be a bit more of a sitting duck than Fernando Alonso was, because he is a bit further away from the slipstream. Here is Charles Leclerc. Come on, man. You got to try and make the move work. Up the inside, in towards the final corner. No, we're going to tell him go for it. Overtake mode once again. These are the sort of the micromanagement things you have to do at the moment. And surely now Charles Leclerc, big top-end speed as we head out of the final corner. But look at that. No, Bottas and Hamilton slowing each other down there as we head over towards the start-finish line. They're going to be almost 3 wide as we head back down in towards turn 1 here. Will Charles Leclerc make the move work on Esteban Ocon as they head through turn 1 and turn 2 there? Surely the Ferrari's got the extra grip, and I think he will just about slot in front. And now we can tell him to go back into balanced modes again. Now with Charles Leclerc trying to apply pressure to Hamilton immediately. He's in P7, but this is uncomfortable territory for Charles Leclerc, our driver. And trying to have a look for a move on his old teammate Valtteri Bottas as we come towards the end of lap 13 here, already at 1/4 race distance in this Grand Prix. And I must admit, we haven't even focused on Sainz, but he is still hanging on to the lead at the front of the field here. Of course, we just want to see what Charles Leclerc can do as Hamilton and Bottas go and hammer and tong down in towards the final corner of this lap there, as I think Sainz might now be under pressure. No, Verstappen, he was right on him, and then suddenly drops back rapidly. So we'll keep focusing then on this huge gaggle of cars battling at the tail end of the top 10. Surely Hamilton now can get a run on his old teammate Valtteri Bottas there, as Esteban Ocon again, I think, trying to look for a move on ourselves. But is he going to be able to make the move work through turn 1 there? Esteban Ocon again trying to rustle the feathers of this Ferrari, and he's going to be side by side on the exit of the corner. Will Charles Leclerc be forced to back out in this instance? Yes, he is. Fernando Alonso, you worry about him, might be able to try and make something happen as well there, but Charles Leclerc dropped back down to P8, and he is not happy as the gap to the front is just opening up. Right, well, there we go then. I think Hamilton has just made the move work on Valtteri Bottas, but surely that Alfa Romeo is going to try and come back at him there. As you can see, Charles Leclerc right in the wheel tracks of Esteban Ocon once again, down in towards the final corner. Ocon, oh, almost. I think there might have been a tiny bit of contact there with Valtteri Bottas just in front, but really what we've got to do is, like I said, let Charles Leclerc try and make up these moves, but then of course when all these guys have to box in just a few laps there, as I think Sainz has lost the place there. But look at this, Charles Leclerc, immediately it looks up the inside of Ocon, back down towards turn 1 there. Hopefully we'll get a look as to what happened to Carlos Sainz there. It's all kicking off at this stage of the race, and I think it was just Verstappen now trying to get the run on Carlos Sainz down towards turn 1 there. Sergio Perez as well trying to look for the move, but Verstappen up into the lead then of the Grand Prix. And I said early on how it was 2 Ferraris versus 1 Red Bull. Now it's the exact opposite. It is both of the Red Bulls versus Carlos Sainz at the front, but I'm hoping that Charles Leclerc will be able to get back there by the end of the afternoon here. Still side by side with Esteban Ocon as we head out the first couple of turns there. Shortly down into turn 3, Ocon's going to have to back out of it, which he does, and Leclerc back into P7 once again. He's doing a good job on the tyres and the brakes. Of course, we struggled with cooling last weekend, but that's what we need from Charles Leclerc. But we can't afford to forget about Sainz at the front. Make sure he doesn't drop too far away from Max Verstappen here. Are we going to now see Leclerc try and get a run on Bottas? Not quite down this straight, as Russell sat comfortably in a bit of no man's land. In lap 15 still, Charles Leclerc very close behind Valtteri Bottas here. Hamilton now, of course, is going to be the sitting duck. You can see him having to save battery down the ends of the straights there, but we need Charles Leclerc to really try and just pick these two off. We can't afford to keep letting him get stuck behind him, as we'll tell him just to go for it again on Valtteri Bottas there. Can he have a look to the outside of the flying Finn? I don't think he can, as they all just close up on Hamilton again. Mercedes have not got a particularly good car down the straights, but can now Charles Leclerc try and get the run. Team want Sainz into the pit lane at the end of this one, but I think we want to just try and extend it a little bit longer if we possibly can. As here goes Charles Leclerc up the inside of Hamilton, who loses 2 places in one go. Up the inside of Bottas as well. Go on, Charles, out on the exit of turn 2 there. Can he make the double overtake work? Charles Leclerc side by side with Bottas, and that is a done deal. Up into P5 of the Grand Prix there. Let's watch that one again on the replays there, as I was kind of just trying to focus on what was going on with Sainz there. But Hamilton, nothing down the start-finish straight there, and Charles Leclerc says thank you very much. And then, of course, Bottas, everyone, you know, it's Bottas tax when it comes to an overtake, just makes it look easy. So we're now just watching on board then with Carlos Sainz once more. We're going to just try and let Charles Leclerc get on with it just behind. I think actually Charles Leclerc might be able to try and make a move work on George Russell in just a second. But look at that, almost 3 wide as they head back down towards turn 1 there. Perez now is going to send it up the inside of Carlos through the first corner. I don't think can quite pull off the move. No, he's going to be on the outside through turn 2 as Charles Leclerc does now move up into P4 of the Grand Prix there. Sainz gets relegated though down into P3. There is a long, long way to go in this race as we'll try and watch that move from Charles Leclerc. But this race again, just like Sakhir, really proving a lot of carnage there. As are we going to see Charles Leclerc again, another nice simple DRS pass, as George Russell and Mercedes have still got no top end speed. But now Leclerc has got some clear track space. He can really go for it on those hards. Oh, there we go then, lap 19. Max Verstappen into the pits then, so where is he going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix there? Hopefully he's going to be out in a little bit of traffic there, as I mean all the hard runners should be able to get the better of the Dutchman, and this might work out really, really badly for Max Verstappen a bit further down the order. See if we can try and watch where he's going to come back out there. Hopefully, like I said, in some dirty air. As there we go, look at that, 3 cars through turn 1 there. One of the McLarens, one of the Haas cars, Mick Schumacher and Yuki Tsunoda, all get the jump on Verstappen, who re-emerges down in 11th place of this Grand Prix. That really helps out both Leclerc and Sainz there, as I mean, we've still certainly got a few more laps on these tyres. Sainz, I'm just going to try and make him go out a whole lot longer. Perez in at the end of the next lap. So Sainz now is going to have some clear space at the front of the field there. Of course, yeah, Sainz of course made the move because Perez dived in. But Leclerc is actually taking good time out of Sainz as well. That's of course because he was still on a very, very aggressive fuel strategy. But well, like I said, we're going to try and leave Sainz out a few more laps there. If we can get into about the halfway stage of the race. I'm just a bit worried, of course, that they're going to lose places behind those slower cars. But just watching this one unfold, I think it might be worth trying to get him in quite soon, because the gap to Verstappen is coming down there. It's down to 25 seconds as Perez is out right behind him. So we'll keep monitoring that gap. It's actually going up there, 26 seconds now. They're both stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo. We've got a yellow flag out in Sector 1. That's now sorted itself out there as well. Could always try and have a cheap pit stop, as it was Kevin Magnussen with some issues. Bit of a strange place there. As Kevin Magnussen, very lucky to keep it out of the wall. Right, so we have given Carlos Sainz the call then. End of lap 25 at the halfway stage of this GP. Carlos is going to head into the pit lane here. I guess the real question is, can Charles Leclerc make it to the checkered flag on those hard tyres, or will we have to box him in a few laps' time there? I mean, he's not going to be far away from Sainz anyway there. He has done a valiant effort and brilliant mid-race pace, just like we saw last weekend there. Charles Leclerc, when he gets put on the back foot, just is able to dig deep and re-emerge a little bit further up the order there, as I'm hoping if Sainz can get out ahead of Verstappen here, he's probably going to come out between the Red Bulls, but if he could get out in front of them, this would be really, really good at this stage of the race there. There's a 2-second gap between the pair of them, but 3 seconds up the road to Pierre Gasly. This is going to actually be quite close on pit exit there. As you can see, a lot of cars get past him, but Sainz, he's done it. Verstappen there must have been caught out in even more traffic than I originally thought. Sainz is way out in front of him. How on earth has Sainz managed that? Up now into P5 once more of the Grand Prix, but he's got a huge gap to the cars behind there. I mean, what's that? 7 seconds to Verstappen? How on earth has he pulled that off? As here we go then. Sainz now all over the back of the other runners that started on the hard tyres there, as he sets a new fast lap of the day onto lap 28. But this can be where things get a bit difficult for him, as Verstappen's still only 7 seconds away. But Sainz really needs all of these cars to pit, so he gets a bit more clear track space, or we tell him to go for it and try and move past them all. I think we've just got to tell him to try it, because at the moment, yeah, we can't afford to get stuck behind Fernando Alonso for all too long. We saw how much it cost Charles Leclerc earlier on in the day there. As Sainz, he looks one way, is he going to be able to look the other on his fellow Spaniard? Not quite just yet. I mean, Zhou Guanyu and Lewis Hamilton, 7-time Formula 1 champion versus a man in just his second ever F1 race, as Hamilton going to try and have a look to the outside of Zhou Guanyu, gets shown the wall on the exit there, but we need Sainz to get past Alonso here as he gets a nice run off the corner there. I mean, he's on much fresher tyres than the Alpine, as another driver having a few issues there. Not too sure who that is. Don't think we're going to worry about that at the moment. Let's come on, Sainz. We can't afford to sit behind an Alpine all afternoon. There we got yellow flags. It was Tsunoda who had a bit of a lock-up then in Sector 1. But Hamilton going to try and make a move work on Bottas. Sorry, Zhou Guanyu even once more. Here comes Carlos Sainz. Just can't quite gamble it up the inside there. I'm going to willing to let him have a look there. As up the inside he goes on Fernando Alonso through the final corner. A beautifully little position move there. He will give Alonso the room on the exit, but I think Fernando just backs out of it. As Hamilton gets boxed in as well there. This might be a triple overtake for Carlos Sainz as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Up the inside of Lewis Hamilton he goes. Surely he's going to be able to outbrake him there. And up the inside of Zhou Guanyu as well. That's brilliant driving from Carlos Sainz there. 3 places in 2 corners. And we're back up into first and second of the Grand Prix. I could not have asked of anything more from Carlos Sainz there. That was a worthy move for a Ferrari driver. Well, as we head in towards the final quarter of this Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc is still monitoring the gap quite well to Carlos Sainz, but his tyres are getting pretty worn out at this stage of the day. I don't want to risk a puncture or anything like that late on in the afternoon, so I think what we're going to do, about lap 40, we're going to bring Charles Leclerc back into the pit lane. Like I said, go on a set of soft compound tyres to see him to the checkered flag there, but Sainz is looking so comfortable at this stage of the day, but both of them still absolutely pushing brilliantly at the moment. We have controlled this race really well, and Red Bull, yeah, just got a bit unlucky in terms of strategy. Normally it's Ferrari that accidentally put themselves out in traffic, but this weekend it seems to be Red Bull that made the blunder. Well, like I said then, as we head on to lap 40, we're going to try and get Leclerc in onto a pretty fresh set of the soft compound tyres to see him through to the checkered flag. Just had him monitoring the battery just a little bit over the last couple of laps just to make sure he's got enough charge to go for it late on in the day. Gap to Sainz now down to 11 seconds, so he should still come out comfortably in P2 there. Red Bull just later on in the day, a bit like we saw last weekend, just don't quite have the long run pace to match the Ferrari cars. But let's ride on board then with Charles Leclerc as he heads down in towards Sector 3. He's got one of the Haas cars there. That's Kevin Magnussen. The soft compound tyres this weekend certainly didn't work for the Haas at the start of the Grand Prix. But yeah, Charles Leclerc there, he will re-emerge in P2, and I think, yeah, in the final few laps, we are just going to see whether he can close up to his teammate Carlos Sainz once more. But like I said, he should be out comfortably ahead of Max Verstappen as long as the team don't mess up the pit stops here, as we're still very, very comfortable on fuel late on in the day. But into the pits then comes Charles Leclerc, hoping the team give him once more a nice, clean, tidy stop here as he heads down, of course, third pit lane box even in the pit lane there. So very, very early down the road, and there goes Carlos Sainz then back into the lead of the Grand Prix there. It might have been a bit of a botched strategy for Charles Leclerc, but we had to try and cover all bases today, and like I said, we've given him 10 laps to really try and fight towards the end of this one. We are going to let Charles Leclerc push here, as he's just going to come out ahead of one of the Williams. Gap is only 6 seconds as well, though. This might not be over. Charles Leclerc, that is certainly a closable gap on much, much fresher, quicker tyres. I mean, look at this. 8 laps to go then of the Grand Prix. The gap's already come down by a second here. This could really be a race towards the end. I am just going to sit back and let them go for it. I'm not going to tell either driver to push more aggressively than the other. Of course, if it gets a bit too squeaky, then I might tell Charles Leclerc just to back off. But if he's got the pace to close up to his teammate, I'm going to let him do it. I'm not going to try and slow him down for any unnecessary reason. If he believes he's got a chance to win, because we split the strategies, I've got to let both of them prove themselves. Here we go then, 5 laps to go of the Grand Prix, just riding on board, having a look from the back of Carlos Sainz. That other Ferrari is just getting bigger and bigger every time he crosses over the start-finish line here. This could really come down to the last lap here. This is a low lap warning, mate, nearly there. 5 to go here in Jeddah, and which of our drivers is going to walk away with the race victory? And as we head in towards the penultimate lap then of this race, Charles Leclerc, 1.7 seconds. That gap has come down to. He needs to try and get within the DRS range of Sainz there, as it looks like the Spaniard has actually picked up the DRS off one of the Haas cars. There it is, Kevin Magnussen still just sat in the way. So that's going to really help Sainz out late on in the afternoon there. I was very, very worried about Kevin Magnussen potentially running into the back of him down at turn 1. But 2 laps to go here in Saudi Arabia. It looks like Charles Leclerc might have just made a bit of a mistake down at the first corner there. The gap opens back up to 2.2 seconds. I think that might be the difference that Charles Leclerc needs to make sure he walks away for not only his first race win of the year, but his first ever race win in Formula 1. And here we are then, starting the last lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You can see Charles Leclerc had closed that gap back down slightly, but again, just gets caught out behind Kevin Magnussen there. He is going to have the DRS, though, to help him back in towards turn 1. But Sainz has controlled this race later on there, and it looks like, once again, hopefully, despite any issues on this final lap, it's going to be another 1-2 for Ferrari. Honestly, I completely understand if Charles Leclerc feels a little bit put out with the strategy stay. You know, clearly the 2-stop wasn't quite the way to go towards the end of the afternoon there. But like I said, we had to cover off all the bases, and Charles Leclerc certainly didn't have quite as much confidence in his setup before the weekend there. So I thought, you know, if we're going to let one of them push a bit more and use an extra set of tyres, I think Charles Leclerc was probably the one to do it there. And of course, the smooth operator as well. Very, very good on his rubber normally in Formula 1. But as he rounds out through the middle sector, it was once again pole position for Charles Leclerc on Saturday. I honestly thought it was probably going to be Charles Leclerc that walked away with the race victory. But last weekend, of course, we made Sainz back out of it. We allowed Charles Leclerc a little bit of breathing room towards the end of the Grand Prix. So I think it's only fair this weekend that Sainz is going to be able to walk away with the race victory. Once more, though, it looks like it is going to be the full 44 points here in Saudi Arabia as Charles Leclerc follows his teammate down in towards the final sector of the Grand Prix. But for the first time since, 2013, it's going to be a Spanish driver on the top step of the podium in Formula 1. Carlos Sainz rounds the final corner here in Jeddah. It was a win for Leclerc last week. It's a win this weekend now for Carlos Sainz, and it's yet another 1-2 for the team. You absolutely love to see it.
And Sainz crosses the line first. He's taken the win. Here's the replay. And Carlos Sainz takes the win.
And is thoroughly deserved. A hugely talented driver and undoubtedly a worthy winner.
Well, Leclerc seemingly a bit more happy than I originally thought he would be with that P2 there. You know, he had a very, very good battle early on in the race there, but I think the difference, honestly, was Sainz making that triple overtake. That definitely saved him at least a second in this Grand Prix, and that was the difference come the checkered flag there. You can see Max Verstappen, again, will finish P3. They're ahead of Sergio Perez. Russell, a fine job to finish 5th ahead of Lewis Hamilton there, who finishes just 2 tenths away from Bottas. They've really spent all afternoon duking it out with each other. Ocon in 8th place. They're ahead of Zhou Guanyu, a brilliant P9 for him, and I think his first points ever in Formula 1 ahead of Fernando Alonso there. So both Ferraris, both Red Bulls, both Mercs, both Alphas, and both Alpines able to walk away with points there come the checkered flag. Gasly just misses out in P11. McLaren still a long way off the pace, down in 12th and 14th there. As you can just see, Ricciardo crosses the line ahead of Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, and Yuki Tsunoda. Kevin Magnussen, Stroll, and both Williams a lap down. And of course, yeah, Sebastian Vettel, the only man not to make it home to the checkered flag.
What a fantastic result for Carlos Sainz. A spot on the podium is exactly what the team deserved, and they got it. And with that, the Sainz name remains engraved in F1 history. It was a hard-fought contest for all 3 drivers, each one securing precious points for their team. Ferrari had a very good race, proving they're definitely a team to contend with.
They do say success breeds success, and I'm sure the team will be hoping that holds true.
After an intense weekend, the team ends in first place in the constructor standings.
And for the next round, Formula 1 is heading down under. Exciting times ahead in Australia on the shores of the Albert Park Lake.
Well, there we go then. What a race it was. Carlos Sainz up 2 spots in the end to make the one-stop strategy work there. And like I said, the gap only a second and a half at the checkered flag. It was certainly that triple overtake that made the difference there, because he would have most definitely lost at the very least a second stuck battling with those cars. Charles Leclerc does pick up his second fastest lap bonus point though of the year, so he is still going to be in the championship lead by a couple of points there. And again, Verstappen with his second, third place in a row, but I'm sure he's wondering when Red Bull are going to be able to up the pace there. Perez fourth. George Russell did a fantastic job there to beat out his teammate, as well as Bottas there gaining 2 spots in the afternoon, and Ocon and Zhou Guanyu as well up 2 places there. Alonso, despite his lightning start, definitely the hard tyres weren't the way to go. He does pick up a solid point though for Alpine, and then there is the rest of your order. Like we said, Sebastian Vettel, the only man not to make it home to the checkered flag there. But championship-wise, like I said, Charles Leclerc then 2 points clear of Carlos Sainz there by virtue of his 2 fastest lap bonus points there. Third and fourth, of course, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez there. Hamilton now tied with George Russell in 5th place there. And yeah, Valtteri Bottas very, very consistent up in 7th place there. Pierre Gasly 8th ahead of Ocon and Fernando Alonso there, with Zhou Guanyu and Kevin Magnussen both with points on the board. And of course, constructors-wise there, the full 88 points for ourselves opens up the gap there ahead of Red Bull to 34 points after the opening 2 weekends. Mercedes still in P3 ahead of Alfa Romeo. Alpine do get the jump on AlphaTauri there, and Haas again, of course, the last team with some points on the board. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back tomorrow, ready for round 3 of F1 Manager. We head to Albert Park. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.